Good morning everyone, welcome to All Four Queens. Today's spiritual session, a lot going on, energy's moving around and it's a time for, I personally think it's a time for healing. Light and dark, you choose to do what you want to do, but I personally think it's a time for healing. But one of the things I wanted to say, a couple of things I wanted to say, and I will do a separate session on it. I met an amazing lady yesterday and I can't remember her name, but she was telling me about her child and the fact that she was struggling to get some resources and things like that. So one of the things I want to do about this channel is actually raise the awareness, but raise the vibration for children, because children are our future. And all these leaders and governments and stuff put out their policies, but where in the policy is children the centre of attention in terms of monetary, making sure they get what they want? But on the other side of that, I'm not a doctor, so if you need medical help, please go get it. But I have been a child who has been abused because of having gifts. So one of the things I want to put out there as well is we put a label on things, and me personally, and it's my opinion, and I'm sure that others in the collective will probably agree, that some children are gifted, but they've got a label on them that meets society's norm and science. They may just be gifted, like myself, who was suppressed for many, many years because people were stealing from me, my gifts, blocking, all sorts of things, which obviously I said, I'll talk about later on in the future. But one of the things I want to talk about today is destiny swapping. So people destiny swap by seeing what you've got in your chart, and then somebody else tries to take your position and put you in their position, karmic and divine. So in my case, that's happened. So all the inheritances and the abundances that I was supposed to get. However, God allowed it because I had other lessons to learn. So while everybody was doing that in the background, I was still growing and I was still learning other things that God wanted me to learn in terms of the world. So in terms of destiny swapping, you haven't stolen from me. I just want to make it clear that you haven't stolen from me. You've stolen from God's plan. So everything that's happening now, i.e. Year of Infinity, that's coming out, all the secrets that people thought were behind the veil, that weren't really behind the veil, we just didn't talk about it. That's what you're getting your karma for, because you didn't steal from me. You stole from God. You stole his plan, his journey, his money, his purpose. So maybe when you go and do these things, it's time to sit down and reflect a little bit and understand what you need to do to be able to get the abundance that is there. Now, the other part to that is maybe it wasn't your purpose. Maybe your purpose was to live the karma that your ancestors had set, which was basically clear it so that your next generation get to have the abundance. That's the whole purpose of the cycle. So I just wanted to be clear on that, so that because I talk about in one of the other ones, the betrayal and the burden. It's not my burden. So, God served me well because I've stayed true to who I am, what I need to do, apart from people trying to block and, cause problems, and which obviously just creates you more karma, which obviously no one wishes for anyone to have karma. But if that's what you want to do and that's what you live by, then, we're not here to stop you from doing that. You do what you want to do. But I hope that you will take this time to reflect and look within, and take accountability and responsibility for the things that you have done and you could have done differently, and maybe find a new path in this lifetime. One of the things I will say as well, and I've said it on a previous one, I do strongly recommend that you recant all what you've been sending out, your curses, your hexes, your spirits, because they're going to come back to you. And I don't wish karma on anyone, but you know, what you put out is what you get back. So I would strongly recommend that you recant, and that's just me giving you some positive support and advice, really, to help you on your journey. So the other thing that I wanted to talk around as well, and I've said I will do a separate session on it, the jealousy, the envy, the pride, all the 7 sins. But one thing that people need to remember and recognise is that we all have soul contracts and ties. Now, sometimes those soul contracts and ties are there as a lesson. So you don't necessarily stay in that. And people along this journey have put blockages in and done all sorts of things to stop people coming together. That is God's will, and it's a divine plan. But in between all that, we've learnt lessons. So when someone stops the soul contract or the soul tie, it's because it's time. It's not because you've done, you know, anything wrong. If it's a karmic relationship, which is full of toxicity, then that's not sustainable anyway. And we're moving into a new world where the toxicity and what we've all been taught is the way to live. It's time for change. You know, it is time for change. Do something different. You know, insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, Albert Einstein. So maybe just take a step back and look at your behaviour and say, why am I jealous? Why am I envious? Why do I carry around so much pride and ego? And I'm not saying that that's wrong. All I'm saying is, if that's part of your lineage, then you need to look at that and be the person to break that pattern. That's all. Look at it. Now, we've all been brought up in different ways, and we've all, you know, some of us have attracted some of them, the values and the morals of what we've been raised in. But that doesn't mean it's right, and that doesn't mean it's wrong. What it means is you need to find your own place and your own set of values and morals. That's what it means. Because growth is about change. Transformation is about change. Moving forward, not being stuck in the same cycles over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That's what karmic cycles are. They're there to teach us a lesson, but once we've learnt the lesson, we get out and we don't repeat it. But some people marry a karmic cycle or have friends groups because they've known them for years that are a karmic cycle, including family that's a karmic cycle. And what they haven't realised is we're taught, programmed, conditioned to believe that that's the way it should be. But if these people are actually holding you back, then they're not your soul tribe. And for me, family isn't just blood. Family can be anyone that is there to inspire you and help you to grow. And that doesn't mean you don't love the people that you were raised with. Absolutely not. But what it does mean is if they're hindering your growth and holding you back and blocking you from moving forward, especially if they're blocking you from the destiny that was placed for you by the divine, then they're not part of your path going forward. And you know, there's nothing wrong in letting go, because we're all spirit and we all have a purpose. It's just that we all need to find what that purpose is in life. So I just wanted to be clear on that. And obviously for that lady that I met yesterday, thank you for sharing your story with me. I do want to touch base with you at some point if I can reach out to you, because I've got a plan that I want to put together in relation to children and stuff like that. So if you've got 5 minutes, just send me a DM or something so we can connect. But I just wanted to put that out there and be very clear that there's a lot of people running around with ego, coming for everybody and da. But you're not actually coming for anyone, because the only competition is within you, and it's all the emotions that you're carrying. And you need to figure out what those emotions are and why you're carrying them. Some of them may not even be, you may not even be conscious that you're doing it. Some of them could be unconscious. Some of them could be carried through from your lineage. But your role is to reflect, look at what it is, why are you behaving and attacking and feeling the fact that, you know, you've been aggrieved, why you feel you need to be in competition with someone who's not in competition with you, and take stock and look at mindfulness. But as I said, I would strongly recommend that you go within and you reflect and look at the law of grace as well in terms of your karma, because the law of grace is very important. And Hans Wilhelm, I'll put a link in there. He talks about karma and he talks about what the law of grace is and how you can alleviate your karma by taking accountability, by taking responsibility, and actually, one, forgiving yourself, but two, feeling everything that you've done to somebody and then seeking their forgiveness. Now, obviously, that person has healing to do from whatever you've put out, and their forgiveness will be when they're healed. So I would suggest that you look at the bigger picture rather than just making it about oneself and dragging lots of people into a pit of whatever. The other thing that I want to say is I want to say thank you to everybody that has reached out, because they've been part of this crazy, I can't even explain it. It was just hysteria, crazy hysteria to come after one person. And most of you did it on the back of lies, but you didn't validate the lies. So that was your test, to actually validate what was being said. Is it true or is it not? And also stand back and say, why am I getting involved in this? What does it benefit me, apart from maybe greed, financial, which I've said before. So thank you again for those that have reached out spiritually to seek forgiveness for being led down a very, very dark path. But let's move forward, because it's about oneness. We're in a different era. The old behaviours and the old patterns need to be dissolved, and light and dark should be able to work and live side by side. Spiritually, I don't operate in any dark. I was brought up in the dark and my energy was used for the dark. So I'm very versed in how the dark works, and I'm very versed in the people that probably got a bit aggrieved by the fact that you came for me, because I fed them for years. So you need to be very mindful about your target, but you also need to be mindful who your target is and what their purpose is. Just saying. So I'm going to sign off. Have a fantastic day. Do some cleansing, do some journaling if you want to, do some reflection, do some meditation. Now, meditation doesn't have to be sitting there going hum. Meditation can just be focusing on one thing and just letting the mind guide you. You know, that's how I do it sometimes. I don't always sit in meditation. One of the things that I will also say is a good suggestion is get some grounding, nature. Go out in nature and just get some air and fresh air if you can, obviously. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone's got the facility to do that, but if you can, get some nature in you and get some grounding and appreciate what we've got. You know, be grateful for what we have around us, not for what we don't have. So sending you love and light, sending all those that need healing some healing, and I'll speak to you on the next one. But take it easy, have a great day, lots of love. See you later, bye.